Internet, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this is Unpopular Culture, and we're back yet again with another Goosebumps Abridged.
And this time it's Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes, which is as terrifying as it sounds.
Is your spine tingling yet? I was told there would be spine tingling.
It's okay, little people got work in this episode, so it's socially progressive.
That's good. It's kind of one of those, do you do it now, or do you think long-term? Because long-term, this was probably terrible for little people actors.
Right.
But anyway, so yesterday we're here to look at yet another of R.L. Stein's masterpieces. So here we go. We get the intro as always, which I always bears repeating because it's beautiful.
Yeah, and then you get the dog, but also, and we haven't pointed this out yet, you get Sigourney Weaver turning into older Sigourney Weaver, which is very important.
I blame James Cameron. So we have a brother and a sister playing catch. The brother's name is Joe. I never caught the girl's name because she's not that important to the plot.
Sister, I don't know. I'm pretty sure she grew up into an early 2000s 10.
Sure, I could see that.
Right?
Like, now it's not doing
She
so
had
hot,
potential, but yeah.
she's on the downslope nowadays, probably.
Awful, terrible form. She throws the ball over these beautifully trimmed hedges because this is a white neighborhood, and they're going to let you know. You could tell he watches Fresh Prince because of his hat. Do you see how cool it is?
I don't even think at this point it was cool. Will Smith would have told him, no, stop it. So the ball does go into the neighbor's yard, but it's barely over a hedge. This shouldn't have been an issue. I assume in the book it made more sense, but they had a yard for this. It was probably a producer's yard or something.
I'm pretty sure R.L. Stein saw Sandlot and thought, ooh, really good idea, but he couldn't get Black Darth Vader or a giant dog or a big fence or good acting or quality writing or a budget or that song Tequila.
So the brother goes over to the neighbor's yard to try and get it, and the neighbor's like, what are you doing? And he's in a military uniform.
Because he's not gotten past Nom.
And by the way, he wears the same outfit. This episode spans several days. He's always wearing this outfit. So this is a person who has early onset dementia.
Yes.
Which, if you know anything about that, everything that's going to happen to him is completely horrifying and uncalled for. But he's a mean adult, so that means he gets his comeuppance. Thanks, RL.
Anyways, you see the dad enter the room and holy shit.
He's like the whitest guy I've ever seen. If you remember, like, in the 80s and 90s, like, Chris Rock did a lot of routines about white guys, like, white guys be like this. This is the white guy they were talking about.
Also, strikes me as a little bit strange that they never depict abusive parents. I'm kind of over this Jackson Pollock view you have of things, RL. Give us some real life. Give us a gritty reboot of The Haunted Mask.
I want one where the kid's like, Dad, the dummy's alive, and the dad just beats the shit out of the kid.
Just backhands him and it's like, give me a beer, Sally. And Sally's in the corner with bruises on her arm.
It turns out that the real terror was in us all the whole time. That's how you're going to get your Pulitzer, R.L. Stein.
The Haunted Mask is about the monsters within us, not out on the outside.
So anyway, the dad takes the kids into the garage, and instead of abusing them, which he should...
He should, if this was reality...
he shows them these lawn gnomes that he got, and they're
hideous.
They're hideous.
Awful.
Even for lawn gnomes. I don't know what R.L. Stein thinks lawn gnomes look like. Not like this. But then, unfortunately, we find that the kid is in early stages of cerebral palsy because he fucking one just falls on him, and he has no power to stop it.
And what should have happened is it should have been a 45-minute documentary after this showing the steps to go through to protect him and to maybe treat his illness. But instead, the gnomes are going to come alive. And why do they have the gnomes, Hugo? Why are there deer in the background made of plaster? Why is the shitty garden thing a thing?
Okay, so apparently the white dad is in some sort of competition with the neighbor because, yes, the hard-ass military neighbor seems like the kind of person who would be very interested in lawn care competitions.
Of course, yeah.
And the dad of the kids has decided to do this by having very tacky lawn ornaments. I don't know who he thinks... likes those. The answer is no one, though. So after they set up the lawn gnomes and the neighbor makes fun of them because he's crazy and feels the need to make fun of people's lawn gnomes, it's night and we get POV shots that are clearly supposed to be the gnomes, but they don't show the gnomes yet because apparently...
is it a twist?
Maybe this was a pickup shot they had to do because the little people were getting drunk at this point on set and they couldn't get them to stand up. I don't know.
There's always this kind of shot, though. It's like a hand cam and they hold it to their knees and it's like, oh, the dummy's gonna do a mischievous thing. Oh, he splattered paint on a painting. So basically the gnomes broke some of the crazy old guy's shit. They broke some melons that he had.
Who gardens melons?
This old guy really likes melons. I don't know, man.
And Joe gets blamed. For some reason, I don't know why they assume Joe did it, other than he was the one who pointed out that the stuff was broken.
Right. And then the old guy gets mad and slams one of the melons that apparently one of the gnomes had a Sharpie and drew his face on it.
Where did a gnome get a Sharpie?
Sharpie store. And then he smashes the melon on their porch because he's a reasonable adult that doesn't throw tantrums or has dementia.
So Joe, being the reasonable child he is, immediately assumes that the vandalism was done by magical lawn gnomes.
I'm pretty sure he's self-aware that he's in an R.L. Stein story and knows that it's just going to be a garbage reason things
That's
are
the
happening.
real horror going on here. This kid knows he's being written by R.L. Stein.
He saw Sigourney Weaver turn into older Sigourney Weaver and he's like, I know where I'm at.
So once again, though, the neighbor makes fun of the lawn gnomes, which is weird. Once was weird enough, but now he's consistently making fun of these lawn gnomes. I feel like he's protesting a little too much. I think he wants to fuck the lawn gnomes.
Maybe a little bit.
Which I kind
Like
of get.
rub up on them.
It's like it's a forbidden romance type situation.
They're porcelain sex dolls.
I think they remind him of his wife. She's been dead for a while. She died in the Nam.
Did she also have a beard and was a midget?
Yeah.
We can say midget because this was in the 90s.
So that night, the gnomes come to life, which coincidentally coincides with the moment the little people's careers died. So
Right.
that's good. That's where all the life went, into the gnomes.
Also, pretty creepy, but actually surprisingly good makeup job on these little people. Although they kind of overacted the physical aspects of the comedy, I think that they were going for. They were like, look how gnomey we are!
How do you be gnomey?
I don't know. They didn't do it. They are no Tiny Daniel Day-Lewises. But Tiny Daniel Day-Lewis would be the cutest Mohican.
So Joe hears them get up or something. There's no time for setup. It's a 20-minute episode. We know what this is. He tries to go tell the parents, but the dad's asleep, and he's like, whatever, I don't care. I'd like to know how much this actress got paid to be the mom, because she's just sitting there. She says, I think, one line in the whole episode, and she's there briefly at the end.
Basically, in the credits, it should have said back of head woman and face.
So he goes to investigate the gnomes, but as he goes into the neighbor's yard and he sees the gnomes fucking shit up, these lights go on because the neighbor has motion lights now, and he gets caught. I'd like to remind you that this is supposed to be a horror story,
right,
and the stakes at this moment are Joe might get in trouble.
This has the stakes of like a math test when the teacher told you to be quiet, and you laugh at something that you still think you're thinking about from lunch, and she's like, get out of the class! Same stakes.
So as a punishment, he has to help put the garden back together.
That's
Not
a
really
decent punishment.
Not a big deal. But that night, he decides to try and film them, which he has set all up. He has the family camera ready, and then as he's about to record them getting up, he realizes there's no tape in the camera because he's a fucking idiot.
He's a child. I don't know if we should have trusted him with being the protagonist. If the dad was the protagonist, this would have been a much quicker episode, and probably better.
He could have white guyed the gnomes to death. So this time the sister goes with him because she's in this episode and they needed to justify the check they wrote her. The gnomes jump out, I guess. It's not really a jump out, though. He just kind of walks slowly behind them like this is the setup to a horror thing. Yeah. And at this point I remember, oh yeah, the monsters in this are garden gnomes. Now, Leprechaun is a stupid movie.
Yeah.
But at least it knows it's a stupid movie.
Or they own it.
And at least Warwick Davis is a good actor. I don't know what these little people are up to these days, but I gotta assume wherever it is, it has to be better than this. This had to be the rock bottom point for them. I respect you as people. I don't respect you as gnomes.
So after they run around in the woods for a little bit, for some reason, one of the gnomes gets a hold of the flashlight that they were holding and flashes it in front of, and they find out that the gnomes are allergic to light or something.
Light is what makes them stop moving.
But it's like, what? So only direct light, and now I have a lot of questions about the science behind the living gnomes.
Because there is light, the moon reflects light. Right. There's always some light.
Is it direct light? And also, it can't be just UV light because that little torch didn't have the UV rays.
Is it about intent? Is it about the intent of the light?
I don't know. There's a lot of things that we have yet to discover about these gnomes, and sadly, R.L. Stein never gives us the time for this story. He never tells us the motivation of the gnomes.
P.S. Light is the worst thing to be vulnerable to since the movie Unbreakable. Water, Bruce Willis? Really? So the neighbor catches them because he thinks that they're trying to mess up his yard again, but really the gnomes are there. His lights come on and it makes the gnomes freeze. And then he walks into the shadows with the gnome, and I think the gnome attacks him. It's very ambiguous what the gnome is doing to him.
Yeah, I think it was more passionate, than R.L. Stein was willing to write on a children's show.
Well, that's good. The neighbor got what he wanted.
I think they embraced, and he feels like, oh, you look just like my wife.
That's good.
Beardy and you freeze when I shine light on you.
Happy ending for the dementia patient. So then it's the next day all of a sudden, and it's the competition, and we have these people judging their yard.
Super weird, by the way. It comes across almost like Edward Scissorhands-esque neighborhood for
Yeah,
a second, which
sure.
is super odd. And so these three people are checking out like giant mushrooms in the yard, and then they gasp in horror and walk up and like, hey, you didn't win.
They're like,
Because
what?
you have a thing.
They're like, what? Why? And they go and walk up to the thing.
Twist!
And it's the neighbor, and he's a gnome. And then, I'm not editing this. This is the shot. It gave up.
It gave up. It just stopped. It was like, there you go!
I commended this episode for leaving on the weakest scare quotes that it possibly could. They're not even going to try. They didn't try and have them say anything afterward. No quip. There's the thing that we had to write. We wrote it. We filmed it.
Done.
Maybe next week will be better, kids. Sorry. So that's another episode of Goosebumps. This one was fucking terrible. This one wasn't even a story. This was just bad.
Worst.
It's like they just thought we want to hire some little people.
And I can't believe that you still have an affinity for this show from your childhood. This is worse than any of the juice bar scenes in Power Rangers, the original series. Worse.
Okay, first of all, it's Ernie's Juice Bar.
Okay, Ernie's Juice Bar, whatever.
Second of all, you're wrong.
No,
Because
I'm not.
Bulk and Skull were often in those scenes, and they are
Exactly.
comedy treasures.
No, it looks like both of them were battling addiction in the worst kind of way, and they were not getting the help that they needed and deserved. I think Tommy should have done better. Also Kimberly, also Trini. The other ones, they don't really matter.
Billy?
No, Billy doesn't. Let's be real. What's Billy doing?
He's inventing the...
He wears overalls.
Okay.
Shut up, Billy.
So thanks, everyone. That's this episode of Goosebumps Abridged. Please tell us what episodes you want us to do in the comments. Preferably one that has more of a sting at the end.
We're also doing probably Are You Afraid of the Dark? We'll probably do some Power Ranger stuff. Maybe we could do like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or other cool stuff like that. Squad Cats, Radical Squadron, Real Monsters, Gargoyles.
Well, now you're just naming random shit.
Yeah. Did you
Okay.
not see Real Monsters?
I did.
Armpit Guy?
I remember Armpit Guy.
Yeah. I don't remember the other ones though.
So thanks, everyone. Until next time. Hugo.
Jake.
Unpop. And...
YouTube. This is the internet.